my talk is called Handle with Prayer. And I just want to remind you that prayer is not about putting a set of words together. So I'm using prayer as an acronym for a series of mindsets that when you consciously apply them, it will allow and empower you to live a life of grace, of ease, of success, however you define success. So the first of the letters is P, and P stands for peace. Can everyone say for me, peace? Peace. Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, the best-selling book, Think and Grow Rich, among many others, devoted the majority of his work life to studying the values and habits of the very rich. And he discovered that what they considered to be the number one form of wealth was peace of mind. Now, with that finding, you might think that peace of mind is something difficult to attain, or something that very few experience. But the truth is that peace of mind is available to every man and woman and child on the planet. And more than that, it's free. But perhaps what made this valuable state of consciousness so esteemed was that you can't buy it and you can't give it away. But attaining peace of mind is a very simple process. One day, the Buddha and his followers were walking from one town to another. They passed a nearby lake and decided to stop nearby. The Buddha asked one of his disciples to please go and get him some water from the lake. So a disciple obeyed, went to the lake, and when he got there, he noticed that there were people washing their clothes in the lake. And then a cart entered the lake and crossed the lake, turning the lake, making it impossible for him to get his master any water. So he went back to his master and explained, and his master was gracious. But about an hour later, he asked that same disciple to please go back and get him some water from the lake. So the disciple did indeed go back. And this time there was no one there. And the lake had settled, and the water was clear. The disciple got the water, took it back to the Buddha. The Buddha graciously accepted it and said, "Do you see how you made the water clear?" He said, "You let it be, and it settled down on its own." The Buddha said, "Your mind is just like that. Whenever it gets disturbed, just let it be. Give it time. It will settle down on its own." See, peace of mind is not a strenuous effort. It's an effortless process. Take time every morning, early in the day, and throughout the day to bring this consciousness of peace into your life. If you're not familiar with meditation, or simply how to sit and become still, or allow the mind to become still, take one of Peggy's classes. Take them all. The next letter is R. And we're going to borrow from the Eightfold Path as we look at right view. Can everybody say right view for me? Right view. A life lived in right view is a life filled with appreciation, bounty, gratitude, and overflowing good. It is understanding that you are a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual laws, that with God nothing is impossible. It is the awareness that nothing that anyone could ever do or say can change your divine nature. It is knowing that there is nothing that you could do or say that could change that nature. Now, I'm not only talking about the things that you might consider a mistake, but I'm also talking about you can't earn it. It is your divine birthright. It's how you show up on the planet. When you are in right view, you know that there is nothing or no one that can hold you back, that can keep your good from you, or that can separate you from God. And when it all fades away, it is knowing that you will be just as you are in this minute, whole, perfect, complete. That the very essence of who you are and all that you are and all that you ever will be is love. Life is a lot less complicated in right view. The next letter that we look at is A. And A stands for attitude. Can everyone say attitude? Attitude. Yes. Keeping your attitude in check is one of the most important factors to live a life of success, however you define it. Charles Swindoll said, "It is more important than appearances, giftedness, or skill." Neurologist, psychiatrist, and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl said that attitude alone determines what kind of life you will live. You know, they took everything they could from Viktor Frankl, even his body hair. And after it all, he insisted that the one freedom they cannot take from you is the freedom to choose your attitude. One morning, a lady woke up, looked in the mirror, and saw that she had 3 hairs on her head. She said, "I think I'll braid my hair today." She did, and she had a very good day. The next day, the woman woke up. She looked in the mirror and only had 2 hairs on her head. She said, "I think I'll part my hair down the middle today." She did, and had a wonderful, wonderful day. The next day, the woman woke up. She looked in the mirror, and she only had 1 hair on her head. She said, "I think I'll wear my hair in a ponytail today." The next day she woke up. She looked in the mirror, and there was not a single strand of hair on her head. She said, "Yay! I don't have to fix my hair today." Henry Ford said, "Remember, when you're flying an airplane, you fly into the wind, not with it." Attitude is everything. The next letter is Y. We go to the Taoist path to borrow the important concept of yin and yang. Can everyone say yin and yang? Yes. It's one life from which 2 seemingly opposite forces originate. But they're actually and really complementary, interconnected, and interdependent. Now stay with me. Every day you're experiencing the yin and the yang. When you know what you don't want and you know what you do, that's the yin and the yang. When that's this symbol here. When the yin gets to fulfillment, it begins to immediately transform into the yang. When the yang gets into fulfillment, it immediately begins to transform into the yin. Notice it. Notice how the day becomes the night, how the night becomes the day. Did you ever notice that no matter how hot something gets, it eventually becomes cool. And notice that no matter how much Chinese food you eat, you get hungry later. It's the yin and the yang. But perhaps the prophet Solomon said it best to explain the yin and the yang. There is a right time for everything. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, a time to harvest. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to cry, and a time to laugh. A time to grieve, a time to mourn. A time for scattering stones, and a time for gathering stones. A time to hug, and a time not to hug. A time to find, and a time to lose. A time for keeping, and a time for throwing away. A time to tear, a time to repair. A time to be quiet. A time to speak up. A time for loving, a time for hating. A time of war, and a time of peace. The cycle of life involves them all. An effective prayer life recognizes the yin and the yang, calls neither of them good or bad, but accepts them all as a way of life. Amen? The next letter is E and stands for expectation. Can everyone here say expectation? Yes. Expect positive outcomes. Expect things to turn around. Expect things to work out. Expect to get your healing. Expectation. We all know the story about the congregation who prayed for rain. They were in a drought and prayed for rain. Yet only one man carried an umbrella. That was a man in expectation. I'm inviting you to bring out your umbrella today. You may look foolish like the man in the drought walking around with an umbrella, but his belief was evident and his expectation was clear. Spiritual writer Eileen Cady says, set your sights high. The higher, the better. Expect every need to be met. Can you imagine if we walked around expecting every need to be met? She says, expect an answer to every problem. Expect abundance on every level. So I'm going to encourage you today to get your attitude together. Take your next step and move into a state of expectation. The prophet Jeremiah said, there is nothing too hard or too wonderful for the great law of life to manifest, to bring into your experience. We're at the end now, and the final letter is R, and that R stands for release. Can everyone say release? Release. We all have something we need to release. We all have a story we tell of being a victim, of being incompetent, of being inadequate, of not being good enough. But with each breath, in this breath, we can let go of that story. We can make a new choice. I want to share with you a poem. It's called She Let Go by Ernest Holmes. It's an interactive poem, you'll see. She let go without a thought or a word. She let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons. Wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her day timer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. Let's take this message into prayer. Just letting go. Letting go and free falling into that one life, that one heart, that one mind, that one presence, that one intelligence, that which assimilates, integrates, and eliminates all, that moves into form and out of form, living its life as us. I know that whatever we're letting go of today is allowing for expansion in a wonderful way, in a wonderful way, that it creates a vacuum for more good to be our experience. I am grateful for this awareness. I am grateful for this community. I am grateful for each person and each person that concerns each person. I am grateful to know the great law of life is working it all out. And so once again, we're back to letting go, to letting all things be as all things are, perfect. And so we place this collective intention into the law, accepting it as completely done in us, through us, around us, and on our behalf. And so it is. Amen.